G'day you lovely people out there. It's George on a fairly Sunday afternoon here. Love to present to you today's episode of Message of Hope. 2nd of August 2026. Here we go. So, this young man is just 23 years old. By the way, he owns his own landscaping and excavation company. He's pulling around $2,000 a week. Not a bad amount of money, I'd say. His name is Bray Harris. I hope that's how I pronounce it correctly. Now, a few years back, he was on an apprentice wage. You know, the kind of money that makes you question every decision you've made. Yeah, it's not exactly big bucks when you're an apprentice. But today, he runs Bloomstone Projects. That's his own name on the business. He owns that business. The story around him got a bit of a power on, a bit of a criticism online, of course, as you expect. You know, the way these things do. People are never happy, I guess. One reader summed up the whole debate in the one line. What did the double arts degree major say to the plumber? Would you like fries with that? So interpret it however way you want it. It's sort of funny, but also not the whole picture. But we're going to get there. So, I have to tell you something about this week first, okay? It's winter here, even though it's... look at the sky, there's no cloud to report. Okay. Yeah, it's winter here in Melbourne. And some mornings I wake up with the heater running, and yet my toes are still cold. I mean, really cold, right? By midday, on the grey days, there's part of me that would quietly, happily not leave the house at all. Just don't want to go out. But there are days when it's a work day, so I have to go. Sure. Because I've got to honour my commitment. I suspect you've got your own version of that. Maybe not the weather, just the season that hasn't turned yet. And you're not entirely sure if it's going to. I hear you. So here's what Paul writes to the Galatians. Now, to be fair, everything's got to be in a context, right? I'm guessing he's not talking about careers in this verse. He's talking about sowing to please the Spirit, Holy Spirit. About supporting the people who teach you the faith. A completely different context to the ones I'm about to put in. But the principle, like I said, you can stretch it underneath it, travels further than its original address. So have a listen. It's from Galatians chapter 6 verse 9. And let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up. Very comforting words. So you hear that? Due season. Didn't say tomorrow, Monday, or not by the end of the month. No promises there. But it does say due season. Meaning there's a harvest coming, but nobody's told you the date. Now, let me say plainly what I actually think about university courses versus trades and apprentices, right? Labouring job. Because I think it matters here. I think some jobs genuinely need the formal training, especially if you're going to become a doctor, engineer, rocket scientist, astrophysicist, stuff like that, right? Plenty of other work doesn't need it at all. It's really horses for courses. Again, that's my opinion if you want to hear what I think. Now, that was never really the argument I want to make today. Okay, it's not about that. The argument is this. Bray's apprentice years were hard whether or not a degree was waiting at the other end for him. He said it himself. Landscaping is physically brutal because you're always chasing the next job and your body's always sore. Man, I complain about my back after 1 hour spent in the backyard doing my gardening. Nobody handed him $2,000 a week. Nobody. So he worked towards a season that hadn't turned yet either, with no guarantee it would. So if your version of due season feels late, my friends, don't think that it means it's not coming. If God willing, that is. So before going, if you're facing a season like this and it's your finances that are actually running thin, not just your patience, please don't give up on praying. I urge you not to stop praying. Now, I did a computing science degree. It took 3 years. I'm going to tell you, by the second year I was properly lost. Yeah, most of the subjects I just didn't like. There are plenty of days I just want to walk out and not come back. So here's my honest version, not the tidy one. That looks good on video. I didn't stay because of conviction. I stayed because I just had no idea what I would do instead if I didn't go to the uni. No, the good thing is I finished it anyway because I'm that type of person, right? Just want to finish the task. That degree didn't exist in the second year. You know, when I was going through that wilderness in my mind. Well, definitely not on paper, not in my hand, nowhere I could point to and say, this is real, keep going. I just kept turning up to lectures. I didn't want to sit through. I'll tell you what, those maths lectures were so boring. Which is a strange thing to admit, given how many times I've changed careers since. It turns out the degree didn't exactly map out my future the way I assumed it would. Not trying to be negative. But friends, is there a season right now you've quietly stopped believing it's going to turn? Not because the work is too hard, but because you've been in it long enough to start wondering whether due season was ever actually coming for you. It could be you're in a relationship that you think, is this going to end? Yeah, that's a beautiful family there. Yeah, it could be a career path you're trying to chase, or maybe a health episode you're trying to win victory from. I hope the Lord will be favourable to you. Well, my toes are still cold this morning, but you know what? Spring's coming. And that's today's message of hope. Thanks for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share my videos. I'll see you on tomorrow's video. Bye bye.